And we are on. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on?
Hey, hey,
Thank,
Daddy.
thank
how
you for
y'all
tuning
doing?
in. Another Wednesday evening, 9 p.m. Thank you for tuning in to another live from the corner. We are so happy that you all giving up your hour to spend time with us. We thank you so much. I am Breezy, the narrator, and you good people all are.
I am Louisa the Phoenix, and you, sir.
And I am, of course, AI McDowell, aka Red Nose. You dig?
And we got
And
a
we
pretty lady in pink down there. What's your
That's
name, young
right.
lady?
We are
Deeper
joined by.
Brown. So glad to be on Live in the Corner. This is so dope.
That's
We out
right.
in quarantine. I love it.
yeah, for
That's
sure.
right. We are joined by a friend of the show, DC's great Dior Ashley Brown. Uh, kind of like Slash. You know what I'm saying? Like poet slash MC slash DC Music Summit curator slash um has Fat Joe on speed dial slash.
Sway, Sway. She was on there with Sway too.
You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna call her Dior the Slash from here on out.
Flash.
I try to embrace it, man. I try to embrace it.
And so how has this quarantine been treating you? What's been going on with Dior Brown during this quarantine?
It's been awesome. You know what I'm saying? It's been awesome. It has. It has. I mean, I had to go in quarantine to meet some of my most favorite rappers and artists. Like, wow, like, you know what I'm saying? To go in quarantine and that have that happen. I actually had my first show in the living room. That was awesome. And I had a great response, and it was different, being so intimate with the people who, it's an intimate when you're live performing, but like there were so many different types of people in this one performance that I did. It was for a nonprofit, and for them to receive it was really, really deep, and it's been positive. It's been positive to get rest, to catch up on things I haven't been able to catch up on, pertaining to life and getting those things done. But it's been like spiritual and meditative, and I'm really appreciating this time, just taking it one day at a time for what it is. I'm thankful that I at least have groceries. I mean, of course, I want to rock for thousands. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was on my way to doing a lot of expanding things, but I'm actually very humble at this time to just have what I need to be able to move forward.
Mhm.
You
Right.
look nice and relaxed. Your skin looks so pretty.
Thank
I want
you.
to snitch on you a little. I want to snitch on you a little because you have been busy. Because somebody was featured in the Washington Life.
Yeah.
And the young and the guest list, Washingtonians under 40, driving the city forward. She was featured in that March 20th. And she was also on Big Nate Radio concert series. Is that when you did your perform? Is that the one you did?
So Big Nate actually took my live performance at Kennedy Center and presented it on his radio. So I didn't have to do too much. He just wanted to show some love, and I appreciate that very much. And then Full Bloom Mag just showed love. Actually, the writer of that used to come to a jam I did a few years ago, and he was like, "We'd like to feature in Full Bloom," and asked me a few questions about what I've been up to, and I really appreciate that. Full Bloom has been a part of my career, and they've been documenting it for sure.
And also Afro.com.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did a
So
write
what's
about you.
crazy about AfroAmerican is that AfroAmerican was on 14th Street, and my grandmother used to do hair at Hyder Salon right next door.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
Wow.
to be
14th
honored
Street.
or talked about in that magazine was an honor to me. I was like, wow, I grew up seeing this Afro-American newspaper right
Mm-hmm.
next door. My grandmother used to get tickets to the Ebony Fashion Fair at the Kennedy Center, and I'm like, wow, I'm here.
Yeah.
So that was awesome. Michi Correct interviewed me for that interview, and that actually was an awesome just building time. We were building on blackness, and things were pushing the black community forward and creativity, and I was really happy to do that interview for sure.
Mhm. And I know before your concert series, you were hopping on a couple of well known MCs lives and
Yeah,
performing.
She sure
yeah.
wasn't hopping. She was busting in them jumps. She was like, it all over the
I
place.
ain't
It was
waste no
really good.
time. No
No,
time.
none, no more. So if she had time, because you know people hang up on you. Nah, you coming in the room, letting them
So
have it.
so
How
so
did
I
did
that
you
feel?
huh?
so do
How
you
did that
mind do you mind humbly bragging on some of the lives that you just
I
took
don't
over?
know if I can humble brag, y'all. I don't know. You
Well,
know,
then
Go
get
ahead,
it
be
in there.
American.
this
Go
is
We
ahead. Then.
so
not
DC.
planned.
Can
This
can
is
you drop some
not planned
names?
in action.
Can you drop some names?
So there, so it's crazy because I was just on another interview and Easy Street had a lot to do to me with pushing that energy forward. I was on his live, what I'm saying? I'm always showing Easy Love on his live. And he was like, yo, I'm going to do a show for artists who's down. I was like, I'm down. He was like, Dior Ashley Brown, you're going to be first. And we did a live in my living room. It was recorded on his live. And, honestly, that to me was so tremendous because in the shock of everything canceling, the shift, what was going on, he kept the ball moving forward, man. He was really like uncle, like, making sure we were good. And like, we got to keep it going, y'all. So we got to keep our energy up. We got to stay positive. We got to continue thanking God. And so I performed for him. And it was like everything just came right after that wave. It was like I jumped on. I was like, let me try to get on Sway. Sway was hard to get on. Sway, actually, I left Sway's live, went to Fat Joe's, literally hit the request button, and Fat Joe was bringing me on. I was like, oh
Out
my
of here.
God. Fat Joe brought me on, and I was like, yo, you better go in, girl. Like, he might hang up on you. He got
Right,
better things to do. I
right.
was like, I'm going to go in. I didn't know what I was going to spit. I was like, I'm just going to go in. And it was crazy because he let me on 2 more times after that. And I was like, every time. And I became like a little character for a while on the show. He was like, here this girl go again. I don't know how she gets through. I was like,
Yeah,
yeah.
did it again, and then she did it again. It was like so cool.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was
really
so cool. LL, I'm not gonna lie, y'all.
cool.
When I saw LL, I think him and I both had a moment because I loved him since my childhood. Okay, I'm looking at him like this is not happening. You are still beautiful. I respect Miss L. Cool J. I'm just saying, oh my God. And like, okay, yeah, like, so let's talk. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. We're supposed to talk. We can't just stare at each other. And so I was like, let me spit bars for one of them. I mean, the outside of him being beautiful to me visually, I mean, just as an MC and an artist,
Mhm.
Really, ladies love Cool J because he has always been smooth. He's always had a down to earth rhyme. He's always connected with the people. Like, I mean, everybody in the house played LL. My mom, my dad, you know what I'm saying? We played LL, at every barbecue, at every vibe. You know what I'm saying? It was just smooth music, like listening to Rakim was just smooth, just
Yeah.
wholesome, good vibes. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole feel of the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. I have to give that to LL. So, to tell him how much he inspired me was such a blessing. It was such a blessing, Indeed.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let me ask you this. So March 11th,
Okay.
2020, you perform where again for everybody out there?
At the Kennedy Center, at the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts,
Got
Millennium
it.
Stage. Yes.
How did that feel? Because like just a couple days afterwards, the world went to shit. You hear me? How did that feel? How does that? I mean, do you look back on that and be like, thank God, or like I might be the last inspiration for somebody, or like how powerful was that for you?
I absolutely thank God. Like, let me just give that to you. I absolutely thank God for that opportunity to leave people with a seed and an energy and a motivation to move forward, because some of those friends who even came to my show are still moving forward. You know what I'm saying? So I really am glad to have given people a good word to be safe and be productive during this time. That Kennedy Center has been ultimately surreal all like since the first time I was asked to perform there. My friend passed in 2018. My music director, Turk Gaines, passed, And yeah, he was like a really good friend of mine. We went to high school together, but we didn't become really best friends until we started making music together and working together and performing everywhere. And he really was a part of propelling my career forward. And we always talked about how we was going to rock at the Kennedy Center soon. And when that happened, it happened. I got an email a few weeks after he had passed. And so we dedicated our first show to him. And yeah. And when Kennedy Center had me back and had me a little bit more involved, that last performance, you know, it was crazy. I'm in the Uber freaking out, trying to get there on time, way before time. And, you know, because there was traffic, there was an accident. So we had to go all the way around the Kennedy Center. And then when we got there, say again?
I said, of course.
Yeah, of course, right. Some traffic on the Parkway. And so we went around, and when I couldn't believe I arrived at a decent hour. I was like, thank goodness I'm here. And then it, like the whole time though, in that Uber on the radio was like, they're shutting down this and this is happening in COVID. It was like things were falling from the sky. And I had to maintain, I was like, you know, no, I honestly felt like they didn't want me to rock. Like they did not want me to put out this message. Like they was going to do everything to stop the soul. And I was like, man, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And I was like, you know what? Even if there isn't anyone there, I'm always been the type of artist that'll perform for one person in the room. Like if you come to see my show, I'm going to perform like it's the best show I've ever done, because to me, that's, you know what I'm saying, you came out to see me and there's a love and there's still a message. And so when I was prepared to have a very empty audience and people came out, and we rocked that show for them, you know, we rocked that show. So it felt surreal. It was a blessing from God. I'm sad that we were the last show. We were the last Millennium Stage performance. I'm sad that we were the last Millennium Stage, but I thank God we got a chance to rock.
Well, it's forever. It's forever ingrained on YouTube. Like I was just looking at it, you know, an hour before we came on. You know what I mean? Very dope show. Very dope show you put on. Hey, listen. Hey, you know, look, you know we gotta support. Yeah, this is what we do. You know, just in case you know you want to introduce me to Holly Berry later when you get famous.
I got you. I think she's taken. I don't know, but you know, I got you.
I'm sure she wouldn't mind a little hug.
Okay. Now listen, look. Before we even go any further, my mother was on a plane with her when I was like 25. She never said one thing about me. I was like,
wow.
When I was 25, she said one thing about me. She didn't ask, you know, Holly, are you single? I have a son.
Right. Be part of our family, you know.
Okay. He's supposed to be looking out for your grandkids.
Exactly. Now that was a very deep story. I mean, just like everything that you went through, you know, that day. And you know, for people that are listening, there's a lot of female MCs out here. There's a lot of male MCs out here that want to know, how did you make it to that big stage? Like, what was the grind like?
Oof. And in short, I've been doing this for a long time. Okay. Everything prepared me for this moment and these moments to come. As far as building towards that stage, I spent a lot of time paying dues. I spent a lot of time being professional. I spent a lot of time showing up, and giving it my all to barely anybody in the room. You know, would you say?
Talking white.
Okay. Yo, if you do not use your words, use your words,
your words.
Okay. You're going to use a lot of no worries. No worries. And you better follow up immediately. You hear me? You better follow up immediately. Okay. And that's another thing, man. Follow up. Follow up, show up, be professional. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, be professional. A lot of people don't understand really what that means. Like aesthetic, not having your aesthetic. People want to see you do your thing. You know what I'm saying? And you need to show up for you doing your thing. You can't just talk and be like, oh, I can sing good. And then you're not even thinking about how you are going to curate your work for the people.
Mhm.
You got to show up and perform and give them a show, and also believe in yourself in your work. I mean, I don't care if you have a unique show where your back is turned to the audience. You better be committed. You know what I'm saying? You better see your value. You better, I mean, they better be able to hear your diaphragm when you looking at behind, you know, opposite of them, you know. So, you know, it's really about showing up for yourself. And if you, at the moment that you decide you're going to make money with this, you need to take it a little bit more seriously. You have fun, but you need to take it a little bit more seriously.
Yeah.
You know?
I know a couple people that are affiliated with you. Emma G. You know her?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know her.
Yeah. I was talking to her. Yeah.
Emma G crazy. She on her grind. That girl, man, ain't nothing gonna stop that girl from having a show. You hear me? She is working.
Yeah, sure.
I much respect to Emma, indeed.
Most definitely. So does nervousness work in your favor? Do you embrace it, or do you have to like work out the kinks before you get on stage? Everybody wants.
You have to inhale, exhale, and you gotta breathe, and you gotta do your tongue twist, the tip of the tongue, the roof of the mouth, the lips, and the teeth. Like, you do need to do all of those things, but I do embrace my nervousness, and I appreciate it because it's the fire under my belly. It's a new experience. It lets me know how excited I am about this new experience. But you do have to balance it because you don't want to let your nerves get the best of you. So that's where the professional and owning it and centering yourself, you know what I'm saying? That centering meaning meditate, inhale, exhale. Don't, you know, finding your quiet time, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes, you know, people are talking to people the whole way up, but they don't find time to kind of just be alone by themselves. And you got to do that sometimes. You just, I mean, I love thinking about and asking. First of all, I love praying before I perform, but I like thinking about what is going to be my purpose today? Like, what am I trying to do, you know, with this before I go out there? So that way, that is kind of present when I'm going to deliver.
So you set your intentions, basically.
I set my intentions. Absolutely. I set my intentions. I really want the message to get further, because before I would get so nervous and I'm trying to get through a show, you know what I'm saying? And it's sounding good, but I would miss that connectivity.
Mm-hmm.
And if people aren't really like, they would enjoy the show, but if they're not really like, if it's not fit in with them, you got to really think about what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Because if it's just show and tell, you know what I'm saying? If you're just like, oh, I do this, I'm so awesome. You could still miss people. You could be awesome and miss people if you don't connect with them. You know what I'm saying? You're just singing a good song. Yeah.
So you know, speaking of performing, how are your various bands doing during this quarantine?
That's a great question. Flotus reached out, the music director. She's like, that's like my homie. We talk all the time. And she's still doing church. They practice social distancing. So she's still doing church. And, you know, she was like, your band. She's like, yeah, we are your band. Your band, we here for you. You know what I'm saying? I think everybody's using this time to kind of like chill. And that's honestly the feedback that I'm getting overall. I spoke to Isabel the other day with Isaflow. Like, everybody's utilizing this quarantine time to get centered, figure out their plan, get better, learn new things. So that has been the overall response, is that everyone is just utilizing this time to the best of their ability, and we're keeping hopes high to get out of here at least by hopefully the fall or 2021. You know.
And for those that don't know Flotus, can you explain what the acronym is? For those that don't know what Flotus is?
Yeah, First Ladies of the Urban Scene. I love that name. First Ladies of the Urban Scene. Deanna came up with that, but you'll have to bring her on for her to tell you that part. But yeah, I love that phrase with them. It is her band. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That is amazing. So,
thank you, AI.
So I'm just saying, like, okay, so what is the writer's process? Everybody wants to know what process do you go through? Do you zen out? Do you like what mood do you have to be in for you to actually write the flows that you write? I mean, like, you know.
Awesome question. Oh my gosh. And I'm so glad you asked me that, because I was just telling myself, I get on myself if there's a moment where I didn't spend time zenning out, because it's necessary to zen. I can get impatient with myself and want all the verbiage to come right away. And so I have to respect, whatever mood and space I am. And so I listen to beats and I zone out that way, or I listen to, like, I dig into crates and find music from the past, from like the 90s, the 80s, 60s, and 70s, crazy alternative stuff. And I'll just like listen to it. I might hum a few things to myself. The process is it's fluid for me. It's like an everyday thing. Like, if I come up with something, I might just hit recorder on my phone and be like, yeah, and go into it real quick, come up with that idea and revisit it, because for some music that I write, sometimes it's right away. It's going to be that hit, that song I'm working on, or it might be weeks down the road, 6 months, years. I've gone back to stuff where I'm like, oh, that's right. I got something that will go perfect right here. So that process is honestly constant for me. I'm always thinking of just like anything from singing something to spitting something. Like I'm always thinking, even when it comes down to my ideas, because I like for my rhymes to kind of mirror my life and storytelling. So a lot of my rhymes come from that. You know what I'm saying? They come from like my life. Some of them early on were very premonition. There were a lot of premonitions I had. And then as I got deeper into my work, it's been literally like, I mean, from good and bad relationships to like how I hustle, how I grind, because I was listening to like Nas, Outkast, Mobb Deep, Tupac. I was listening to all these MCs, Nonchalant, Queen Latifah. And so I'd be on my grind and I'd be putting myself in those spaces. Like, so a lot of times for me, even when, and I'm not condoning using bitch or whatever when it comes to when men use that, or, they're talking, we're talking about women, but there were a lot of times where I didn't take it as they were talking about me. I really took it as like, okay, now I'm that pimp in that space, in that situation. And that used to help me grind. That used to help me hustle. And so like, that's how, you know what I'm saying? How I was so inspired in my rhymes that inspired the way I rhyme. Inspired, like, I want music that motivates me. And that's how like vernacular came up. I've done a lot of features with other artists, but I've always wanted to inspire and motivate. When everybody listens to it, like, don't think of it as this is Dior Brown speaking. Like, put yourself in that space and be like, yo, she's speaking what I need right now. This is me right now. I'm getting it. And that was always motivating.
Wow, that's dope.
So I know with COVID, it's pretty much caused the world to come to a almost complete standstill. And so also the way that we do things have to be, reimagined and done a lot differently now. I know that, you were, as probably still are working on your album. Has this changed, the upcoming release or whenever it's released, or have you had to go to the drawing board again because of when you were going to release the album?
So I was already having some struggles as a hip hop artist with sampling and things like that with the project. So that actually is a conversation that's still ongoing. So I'm trying to figure out on what platform and how I'm going to put it out. So right now, with so much of it done, I don't think that's going to stop me. I think right now what I'm looking for is support and fundraising from my communities so that I can get the necessary pieces to move the dream forward, because I'm going to get it done. I'm definitely motivated. But there are pieces to my puzzle as far as like technologically that I need to get things moving forward. But no, I'm going to put out this project. It's going to happen. So I didn't really give a firm date, but it's going to come out.
And that seems to be the process when it comes to being an artist. It's always going to be setbacks and samples and things like that you need to get cleared and all that stuff. So let me ask you, did you ever think about like skipping the samples? Like,
sure have. And I'm so glad you said that, because I'm reaching out there. See, for this album, there's a feel, and see, that's what people don't really understand sometimes, is that the sampling may be a feel. Like, say if I wanted my album to sound like the 1920s and 30s, but hip hop, sometimes you go back into those sampling spaces to create a feel. You know what I'm saying? not that you. And then the other thing that's beautiful about hip hop is that there's a Sankofa in that. You know what I'm saying? It's honoring the past, right? But they don't want to find ways to support hip hop. They want to find ways to diminish it because it's warrior music. My music is warrior music. Brown music is warrior music. And so, you know, it's not your average. It's not, you know, no disrespect to the mumble, but it's not, you know, really low. It's strong and it comes at you forward. So, you know, but yeah, I'm not opposed at all. I'm actually working with some other producers who use a lot of their own instrumentation and things like that. To create, but yeah, no. I'm not. I'm definitely wide open to using non-sampled work.
I'm getting ready to test you. I'm getting ready to ask you the worst question ever. Breezy's gonna hate this. He's definitely gonna hate me for this. Have you ever really paid attention to some of the so-called mumble rappers and really heard them out? Do you have a favorite rapper that you would so-called call a mumble rapper?
Oh yeah,
I get ratchet. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on.
I listen to everything. I will say that I'll go to real hip hop. I'll go to hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Before a lot of mumble and trap, because for my soul, it just does a lot for me. But you know, like it was crazy. Chief Keef put online the other day he was like stepping out on his porch, and I guess everybody at one time decided to write one of his or recite one of his songs off of all of their porches, and you can see the Chicago city lights, and he's panning, or whoever is panning the camera with the phone, and they're reciting the lyrics, and there was something I felt in me, and I was like, oh, his city behind him, the energy is there. You know, don't sleep. You know what I'm saying? Like I do not totally sleep. I mean, sometimes I'll listen to quote unquote mumble rap, but I listen to everything. When I listen to mumble rap, I'll be like, oh, that was fire. You know what I'm saying? Like I even did a remix to Kanye's with Little Pump fucking what is it? Such a fucking hoe.
Yeah. Oh, you did a remix? Hold on, I gotta hear that. I got to hear that one. I got to hear the woman's perspective on that. I got to hear that one.
Exactly. It's a crazy woman's perspective. So yeah, no. I listen to everything. It's just that some of the stuff adds more to my soul, and that's really what it is. And yeah, that's really what it is. Yeah.
I mean, everything has its audience. It has its place. One thing I say, and I've always said this. In my opinion, you know, being somebody that has been listening to hip hop for over 30 years, you know, I grew up, you know, golden era, which a lot of people consider 88 to 98, right? So, I mean, obviously, that's what I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Because when I was coming up, that kind of shaped my education. You know, so obviously things that resonate with you, you're going to like more. One thing I will say this, unlike a lot of people in my age range, I don't hate mumble rap. I mean, it's not my thing. I respect them doing what they're doing. You know, everybody was talking about what's real hip hop and what's not real hip hop, and I have an opinion that, you know, infuriates some people in my age range too. To me, there is no definitive classification of what real hip hop is. And I know a lot of folks are like, why would you say that? The reason being because every era has their own definition of what they consider. Now, you ask me, I'm gonna say 88 to 98. To me, that's real hip hop.
I'm gonna say that.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm not gonna tell some 19-year-old now, hey, look, man, fuck what you listening to. You need to get on this shit that was made long when your mom was 15 years old. Because that doesn't make sense to them. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's and to me, hip hop is not like a young man's game. People always want to say it's a young man's game. Hip hop is the only genre where we put an age limit on his artists. Look at rock and roll. Look at rock and roll. You got the Rolling Stones still performing.
I'm not about to put an age limit on artists.
So let me ask you this. Okay, so we're not going to put the age limit on it, but should it even be put in its own genre? Because it's being gentrified, but I mean, should it be in its own genre?
Well, I think the style of it is in its own genre. I mean, you could be a mumble rap and mature. I think that is actually happening out here. So like, no, you could totally mumble rap and be a mature individual. I just don't think that hip hop or mumble rap or any in that space, when you want to create and it connects with your soul and you need to tell your story, you should be able to do that. It shouldn't matter how old you are. If you have an audience, they coming out to your shows, you're presenting your work, you should be able to rock. You should rock.
And to me, I don't consider mumble rap a genre. I mean, it's a term. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just a term that, you know, when the person that I heard use that term first, I actually laughed because I thought, like, you're kind of like one generation removed from that. It was Wiz Khalifa. You know what I'm saying? A lot of folks have their opinions about Wiz Khalifa, but it's just a term. I've heard Royce the 5'9". He made his mixtape.
Sick. I love Royce.
He made a mixtape, Bar Zam 4, came out 3 summers ago. And on that, out of, I forgot, like maybe 12 tracks, he rhymed over like 8 trap beats. And killed him. But he was being his lyrical self. So there is a way that be emerged together. You know what I'm saying?
I did a remix, man. Like, exactly. Like, you could totally do it. You know, and I think that's you. Everybody's got their own style. And honestly, that's what the past hip hop was about anyway. You know, don't bite nobody, find your own style. And you know, so and then the ability we've always, and that's what's been awesome about hip hop, is the ability to be able to do it all. You know what I'm saying? So hip hop is also a level of consciousness. Like, you understand the world around you, you understand what's happening in the world, but then you also like have this flexible ability to rock on anything. Like when I saw Rhapsody most recently at Fillmore, I mean, she was like, she was doing some trap sounds sometimes too, because once you got that skill, like hip hop to me is like the basis. Like when you study to do theater or anything, when you get that foundation, you can go ahead and go crazy. Like if you got classical, boom, you can go ahead jazz, you can hip hop, everything, because you got it. You know.
I remember when I was growing up in the 80s. And back then, you know, the standard AM/FM radio format, you had your top 40 stations, which is like your pop and the few R&B and like maybe 1 or 2 hip hop songs that crossed over, right? Then you had like and then something I found interesting. Rock and roll had like maybe 3 or 4 different stations. You had your hard rock, you had your easy rock, you had to listen to rocks, right? So even rock and roll, there's like maybe 3 or 4 outlets to hear different types of rock and roll. Nowadays, there is, and it shouldn't be this way, but there's a civil war between age groups nowadays. If hip hop had 3 or 4 different avenues to hear those different genres of music, I think everybody can stand back and appreciate each genre, for what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like we shouldn't be holding up Lil Pump against Rakim. You know what I'm saying? And so like if there was a station for, say, trap, boom bap, conscious, everybody could be happy in their style without having to compare an artist that does some type of hip hop they don't like to the person they do like.
I think that's going to happen regardless of what you do. Someone's always going to do a compare and contrast. But the thing is, no matter what you do, how you rap, if it's old school, new school, no rapping, talking, whatever, just playing music or making sounds, there's always going to be an audience. So there's an audience for everybody.
Yeah.
And I think it really shouldn't, like, even if you separate it, it's kind of taking too much energy to separate. Just play what you're going to play and you're going to like what you're going to like. People are going to talk regardless. It really doesn't matter. Listen to what you want to listen to.
Now,
say it how you want to say it. Yeah.
Now, for sure. Now, that's for sure, Weezy. Before we go, we interviewed you before, right? But many people from the DC area will know you from the DC Music Summit, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
For everybody out here that's listening and everybody that are going to listen to the show, how do they get in contact with you and how do they get on to the DC Music Summit?
Oh, yeah. So the DC Music Summit is a day-long conference that helps to educate musicians in the DMV and beyond to thrive, right? So now we're meeting actually regularly on Tuesdays because I have a team right now who wants to help me move it forward. And they came on right before this whole COVID thing happened, and they were like, you know what? How are we going to adjust in this shift? And so the DC Music Summit happens. we try to do it yearly. It took me a couple of years to do this third one. We got a little bit support. Eaton was our sponsor. Kennedy Center was our sponsor. So Chuck Levins was our sponsor. So we were able to get a little support and help with the team. So yeah, the DC Music Summit, you can go to dcmusicsummit.org. There's a lot of information on it. We're going to be working on monthly classes up to the 2021 summit, which we're working on how we're going to do that. And hopefully, there's going to be a lot more healing. That's all I'm putting out there, man, is that there's going to be some healing. We'll be able to, get out of this quarantine and get back in the world. We might have to do things differently, and that's fine. So yeah, we're working on that right now, but you can go to the website. You can also email us at dcmusicsummit@gmail.com, dcmusicsummit@gmail.com. But yeah, we're active. We're always looking for volunteers. We're 100% volunteer ran. We are activated, and honestly, every single year that I've had it has been awesome. Our first year, our second, we've had very, very humble beginnings. We're still in a humble space, but it was really a blessing for Eaton to give us that space and let us activate and make some people proud, and for people to see how tremendous our local industry is. We do have industry in DC. DC can be a start before you, because you do need to get out your city. I'm gonna say that you definitely need to get out your city eventually. But DC can give you some tools, and there is community out here. And DC Music Summit just wants to make it accessible, where you can find that information, where you can find that network, so that way you can kind of cut through some of the things that are, and we want to professionalize our community, because there, we need more professionals. We need more, really more business savvy and professional agents, managers. That's a lot of what DC lacks, is our industry is not really prepared. And we need more prepared people. We have so many schools in DC. There need to be better school programs to help people go to school for those things, to be awesome in the artist industry, so that they can have some credentials and really know how to organize their business and do it right. Because people right now, including myself, I've had to do a lot of things guerrilla style to move it forward, to get into the Kennedy Center even, but if somebody probably would have taught me a lot of those things maybe in college or in high school, I probably would have been a little bit more proficient faster, So DC Music Summit is going to be that resource for people to thrive, and a trustable resource. That's what we want. We want to be trusted,
Wow.
I could definitely attest to the dopeness of the DC Music Summit. I was a guest of the third annual one, and when people tell you about things they have going on, people always get an image. They always picture what they think that thing is. I can tell you with 100% certainty, the third annual DC Music Summit was as professional as I imagine old Jack the Rapper conventions that used to be in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? Because it wasn't just people that are just talking. No, they had professionals in the industries. You had classes that taught you how to do scores for movies and TV shows, production, Sirius XM. Was there? So this is not just somebody standing in front of you just talking to you. No, this is something that helps you and educates you.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
You know what? Let me just thank you so much for that, B. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. I really want to talk to the people who are watching this to know that the DC Music Summit is especially for people of color. It's especially for women. Everyone's invited, but it is especially for you, because that is the community that we want to make sure is informed, that they get this information, so that we can propel, because DC is Chocolate City. And there are a lot of people here who have these talents and didn't have that mentorship, that guidance. We want to put you all in a space where you can get that mentorship and guidance, get that access, right? And we're going to be professional about it. We're going to get it tight. This is the start to a lot. This is the goal. So I just want to make sure that your listeners know that they are welcome to the summit.
That's dope.
Yes.
That is so dope.
And from them to you, thank you.
So
it's all about the education. It's all about the education.
Before COVID hit, did you have any prospects on where the fourth annual one was going to be held, or any places that you were narrowing down?
Yeah, I want that to be a surprise, because it may still happen. I had a great conversation with that person today, and there may be some good news for us. So I'm gonna keep that one in the pocket. But I always try to make it like a bit of a surprise. Like the second year, we did it across 3 Black businesses on H Street, and I did that intentionally so that people would know to patronize them, so that you could kind of see probably the Black block of H Street. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then it was really fun. It was kind of like a festival. You go from space to space from Black-owned business. You were buying from them, you were eating from them, and you went to classes. Eating Hotel is great. And then there's some really great news that a friend of ours, Samori, said. He was like, and I didn't even notice it. We're grinding. Beverly Snow, which is the space that we had most of our classes in at the DC Music Summit, Eaton Hotel space, is named after a freed slave. And I was like, wow, yes. So
cool.
God is here, man. There was an alignment in that vision. There was an alignment in his plan. So I'm just trusting it. So I like a little bit of surprises for y'all, man. So we're going to keep it going like that.
Definitely, most definitely.
Yes.
Well, of course, everybody here, native or non-native, is very proud of your movements.
Yes,
we can't seem to escape your face. You're everywhere. If I ain't running into you at the beauty salon or something like that, like you're everywhere. You know what I'm saying?
I was like, hey, he honking. I'm like, uh-oh, what I do?
But we are very proud of you. We really appreciate you for coming on the show.
I appreciate you.
But please let people know where they can find you, where they can reach you at. Put some money in your pocket, your PayPal, whatever.
Oh, wow. Please. So my name is Dior Ashley Brown. I have a website, DiorAshleyBrown.com. I have a Patreon. So a Patreon is a site that has people who want to donate to an artist to see them thrive, to see their products, produced. They would pay a small fee, and you can choose any fee you want. Mine starts at $2 a month for you to patronize me, for you to help me. Right now, I am working on live stream tools and live recording tools. I need tools to thrive and keep sharing this message. You know what I'm saying? I am out here trying to blaze trails and create movements. And I'm really showing you with the DC Music Summit alongside my art, I am definitely trying to give back. So please do my Patreon. But you can find all this at my website, DiorAshleyBrown.com, on the right side panel. You can follow me on Instagram, Dior Ashley Brown, Twitter and Facebook. On Facebook, Dior Ashley Brown Music. Man, I need y'all support. Show me love. Cash at me, DabZ. I appreciate y'all so much. Thank you. Live from the corner. Y'all are so dope. AI, Louisa B. Y'all are so dope.
Thank you.
Ain't no OnlyFans, fool. Ain't no OnlyFans around here. You hear me?
No, we're not doing that here. We're not doing that here. Red, let the good folks know where they can find you at.
On Facebook, you can find me at Louisa Harrell and the Blue Phoenix. On Instagram and Twitter, you can find me at Lovely Beautiful Mind 30.
Wow.
And of course, you can find me at AI McDowell Ferguson on Facebook, Red Nose 1999 on IG, and Red Nose 199 on Twitter. And the Red Nose stands for the Pitbull, not the clown. You heard me.
Yes, I get it.
And you can find me, Breezy Taylor. That's BREAZY Taylor on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And you can catch us here every Wednesday evening at 9 p.m. live from the corner.
9 p.m.
All right.
Yeah. Everybody.
All right, peace.
Appreciate y'all.
All right, PJ, we are.
All right.
Sorry, y'all. That's a
You okay?